Now. He's the T-Rex of political talk. Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network.
Icelandic shoppers splurge as currency woes reduce food imports. Their banks are shutting down. They can't get their money out of the banks, and their money's being devalued in hyperinflation. It's the same system, same banks, same private families all over the world. The globalists already control more than 75% of true assets on the planet. They created a wall of, quote, liquidity that was really debt. The public was sold that debt was actually wealth. You know, they told you that on all the financial shows. They got everybody set up. Now they're pulling the rug out from under and then ordering the parliaments and Congress to hand over dictatorial governmental power to the private banking families in what is being called, on the Drudge Report and the Wall Street Journal and every other major publication, a new world order. They're even letting you know, hey, you don't want to have the private banks take over? How about martial law? And they terrorize the public and say, you won't be able to get a housing loan. You won't be able to get your paycheck. You won't be able to get a car loan. But they're not turning on any of those frozen credit markets. They are massing capital unto themselves and using the implosion of the real economy in Main Street to destroy private corporations and companies in the real economy, driving down their earnings, driving down their stock prices, so the private banks that control the fiat currency can come in and snatch them up and buy them up. So they're capitalizing right now, building up a giant war chest for a final buyout of imploding real economy companies. And it's only going to intensify in the next 3 years. Not just Main Street or your job or where you're going bankrupt, but companies going bankrupt, industries going bankrupt and being consolidated, and other real financial institutions, even a lot that are, quote, healthy, are having their credit frozen where they can't operate. And then the federal regulators come in and shut them down and force them to be handed over to larger globalist banks for having, minor violations in the myriad of regulations. The regulations are written where if you have as much as a smudge of dirt on your face, a crooked toenail, as they say, you're going to prison. It's over. But see, it's all selectively enforced. The big central banks can do whatever they want. They can openly have a team of Goldman Sachs people only handing hundreds of billions over to Goldman Sachs in front of everyone. That's fine and dandy. They can have all these big insurance companies like AIG criminally certify toxic debt as AAA gold, rated as gold. That's where the gold rating comes from, as good as gold, U.S. government-backed, and sell it, and then sell it again and again and again and again, and use it as assets to leverage in banking, and then loan out 10 times the money on the back of that crap. While they took the money out and bought real assets and then now leave us holding the bag, terrorizing the public, but it didn't work. But again, the public isn't in control. The public isn't running anything. They just need to keep the illusion going that the public was sold. If you watch the financial shows, they say over and over again, the American people are coming together. The American people are sticking together. Americans stand up and come together when stuff gets tough, and so is Europe. World leaders coming together. World financial leaders coming together. To save this world economy, it's good to see folks come together. But in every poll in Europe and every poll here, 90+% against it. People know it's a fraud. They know it's a scam. If they had any idea how bad it was, I can't imagine how mad they'd be. If 90-something% are already against it, imagine if they had any idea really how serious it was. But it's all about that illusion that the people are going along. That illusion that it isn't a banking dictatorship. But a lot of financial publications, they admit, oh, yeah, the head of the Exchequer and the head of economic policy in England, he's a financial dictator. Oh, yeah, Paulson's a dictator. Oh, yeah, Bernanke's a dictator. Oh, they are setting up a world dictatorship over banking because, see, we can't have people offshore selling these derivatives. It's their fault when the globalists are all offshore. We've got to have a global government to globally regulate to stop this ever happening again. When they close the doors and premeditatedly closed the loopholes for citizens to get their money out of the country in the last 2 years, as the globalists all moved out before that. As they changed the laws where it's very hard to declare bankruptcy for an individual, but easier for these corporations. So it's a criminal select group of Fortune 500 that are owned and controlled by the private, less than 20 families that own the Federal Reserve and Bank of England. And I know you know this, but folks, we better get this information out to everybody we know, because the public has got to get this fast. They've got to understand this fast. They've got to understand how this scam works quickly. Again, when do banks, quote, make money? Well, they issue, through fractional reserve banking, imaginary loans. And that is only debt, so their currency is debt. What do they want? Farms, ranches, companies. What do they want? Controlled implosions, depressions, recessions. So that's when they consolidate. That's when they bring the nets of fish in. But in this case, they're going for broke because they're energizing their war chest to buy up the depleted, devalued, broke-back economy, exactly as the IMF and World Bank documents state. They go in, they buy off a country, they have them sign deals to take over the resources. If they default, they openly tell the country to default. Then they go in and, quote, privatize in a 100-plus part plan. Then the economy really starts breaking down. They double and triple commodity prices and travel cost and water cost. Then the economy starts sinking. They use the media they own to put out bad news to further depress it. Then they tell the government, okay, inflate your currency to pay us back. When the money's still worth something in the first part of that scheme, in the final phase, they buy up more real assets with it. Then they let everybody know the currency's been devalued overnight. The economy completely implodes, and whatever they didn't own to begin with, they come in with foreign currencies and buy up the rest of it. Mechanized precision. And they're doing it now in Iceland. Government moves again to unclog credit lines. Oh, we need more power, more money, more insurance companies, more banks, quote, bailed out. That is being given U.S. dollars. And remember, they claim with these formulas that banks may pay some of this back, but they're going to pay it back in inflated dollars to begin with, and you're going to pay the taxes on those debts. Former Fed chief says U.S. now in recession. Oh, like I need Federal Reserve former Chairman Paul Volcker to tell me we've been in a recession when we've been in one for 3 years. That's like telling me the sky's blue today. Oh, thank you, Paul Volcker, for telling me. Oh. That was like when they went into Perino, the White House spokesman, a few months ago and said, is it true the dollar's devalued? Is it true it's dropping? Can the White House tell us if that's true? She said, I'll be fired if I tell you what I know. I can't tell you. And they said, well, jeepers creepers, we don't know then. We're like 3-year-olds.